my Crystalites. Welcome to the Crystals and Cocktails podcast, sponsored to you today by Conscious Couture Crystals. And that is Conscious with the K, Couture with the K, Crystals with the K. And that is also where we sell everything crystals, raw, polished, big, small, everything crystals. So check us out at www.consciouscouturecrystals.com. And I am Keenya with the K and two E's, of course. And I'll be your host. And we will be diving deep into the world of crystals. And anybody who knows, they know that is my thing. So sit back, relax, and let's make a crystal-themed cocktail as we sip through the mystical world of crystals. And I invite you to help me explore how many today are implementing alternative healing methods such as crystals as tools to aid in their everyday lives. I don't know about anybody else, but over the years, I became more interested in self-awareness and self-care. I mean, today the world seems that we are in a huge crisis. We have a high number of mental health issues and substance abuse issues, and just don't seem like it's getting better. And all, anyone can do is to navigate this, what we call life. Years and years of darkness. So basically, I was just trying to figure it out. And if sometimes I got it right, and then sometimes I got it wrong. Most of the times I got it wrong. Most of the times I got it wrong. But a few years back, I came across Crystal's, a friend of mine, and I had went to a casino, and she had these rocks. One I think was glittery, and the other one I think was solid and black. At the time, I didn't know what they were. Now I do. It was pyrite and I believe black obsidian. We went in this casino, and at the time I was going there because I was desperately needing money. I'm not a gambler, and I call myself not to take chances like gambling or playing a lottery, things that self-awareness taught me now that I know that I couldn't predict. Like, I guess I like a for sure thing. So gambling is, you put certain amount of money on it. If you lose it, you lose it. And I was scared of that, very scared of that. And I went in this casino with the mindset of I needed this money. I wanted this money. I mean, if you even go further enough, I could see me getting this money. I knew if I got this money, how it would make me feel. I wouldn't be stressed. I'd be happy. I mean, I could think of all the feelings about getting this money. But the overwhelming feeling that I had was, what if I lose what I have right now? And this is all I got. That feeling right there was the overwhelming feeling that I had that drowned out that feeling of me winning. But anyway, we went in there and we sat next, and she put her crystals up there and kept looking, and we're playing these slot machines. And in the meantime, in between time, I'm asking her, why the crystals? And she's explaining to me that these crystals they make things happen. And you know what I mean? And these is healing crystals. And, it was just like, wow. So it intrigued me a little bit. But that wasn't what really, truly intrigued me. Here I am losing all my money, every dime, losing my money. And here she's just right next to me, blowing it up. Boop, 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 boop. I mean, at one point, I had no more money, and I'm just watching her cha-ching. She's a good friend. So she gave me, some money to continue to play, which I lost that as well. I mean, by this point, if I have to look back, my mindset at that point was just like a sad puppy, defeated. That kind of mindset that, I was telling myself, I told you so. And I kind of mentally affirmed what I was thinking that you're going to lose all your money. That was the overwhelming thought that I had. It drowned out the fact that, hey, you could win. But so I lost, and I lost royally. And so at this point, we're leaving, but I have nothing else. She has money that she's won. She gave me some more little money just so I could have gas money to get home. Because at this point, I've lost everything that I had. And I'm asking her questions about crystals, and so she gives me some. And so right there and then I go home and I take those crystals, and when I'm really intrigued into something, I actually start researching and I start looking into what they are. And so I start researching the crystals. In the meantime, between time, I still have the problem I started with in the first place. I had no money. I needed money. So now I really have nothing. And now I spent the money that I did have. And at the time, I'm married. And I don't want to tell my husband that I went out there and spent all our money. And so, because I'm Mrs. Right. So, didn't want to be Mrs. Wrong. And so, normally I would have been really, really, really overwhelmed as well. The energy of it would have kept on going. But because my mindset switched to learning more about these rocks that people call crystals, I began to research and not think at all, even though in the back of my mind I knew what exactly I had done and that I had to do something else. And I knew that. So I didn't dwell on it. And I started researching crystals when, and even went the very next day, I believe, and we went to a crystal store and I picked out my first crystal. And that still is my very crystal. It's my clear crystal quartz, solid rock spear, nice chunk of crystal, very powerful. We'll talk about that down the line. And I went and picked out my crystals, and I was just happy. I just was wow, especially with me researching crystals and learning a little more about them, where they came from, and why people even call them healing crystals. So hey, that was enough for me. And so one day I was sitting on my couch and I said, you know what? Hey, like the old saying says, sometimes you got to bite the dog that bit you. I felt like, let me go on back to the casino. So this time I told my husband and I said, hey, you want to go to the casino this weekend? And of course he's like, yes, you know what I'm saying? Because normally I don't want to offer up for us to go gambling. So yes, we went to the casino. Now he doesn't know that blew all the money across the casino, because that would have been a different type of conversation. But we go in a casino and my mindset is different. And I mean it. My mindset is that I'm going in here and I want to win. I started visualizing me winning. I started visualizing me not having to have the conversation with my husband about me losing all of our money. All the way there, I'm driving and I got my crystals and I'm thinking about all the different things I'm learning about the crystals and the fact that, me and my husband, we're together, we're going in here and we're going to win. And that's exactly what happened. I went in there and I went back to the same machine I lost my money on. And I put my money in there. And from the first time that I put the money in, the amount of money that I actually truly needed, I actually hit that. True story. I actually hit it the first time. Now here we jumping for joy. My husband happy because he thinks this is some extra money. He just don't know that shoot, I got the money back. So I got the money back. So we didn't lose anything. I can deal with this. We didn't lose anything. I got the money back. I still need more money. But I'm not worried about that. My mindset is boom, we got that money back from that day. And then my husband, mind you, went and hit and was hitting. So we got extra money. He don't even know about really into the crystals at the time. So man, it was that day that I knew that I had to learn all I could about these crystals. I went home, started researching, and I've been into or utilizing crystals as tools for my everyday life ever since. Ever since. Didn't know that other people was just as excited or intrigued or into crystals like me. And when anybody knows me knows I get into something that I really go hard in the paint if I really, really love it. And I really, really love crystals. So I went in there and immediately I felt like I gotta let people know. Like, why doesn't everybody have these crystals? So I go ahead and I built me a website and I start looking to where, what I could do to create a business out of having crystals. And that's what led me to my business, which we'll talk about down the line as well. I say all this to say that I know I'm not alone in today's society trying to figure out self, society, which way should I go, what should I do? And that can leave anyone overwhelmed, depressed, or anxious, or lead someone to do things that normally they wouldn't do. I say this to say that for me, crystals have been a tool that has kept me disciplined, which I had none. And I'm still a work in progress, but I am disciplined when it comes to certain things and I need to add more things on the list, but I've become more disciplined over the years. And I've definitely have become more self-aware of how I feel, how the way I feel makes me feel, and how that affects other things that I do. I've become more aware of so much. And many may say, because really, honestly, there isn't really any scientific reviews that I could find. And really, there's not any scientific, like science doesn't say, yes, crystals are healing. Crystals will change your life. Crystals will do this and crystals will do that. No, there is no scientific publications or evidence, basically, was what I wanted to say. There's no scientific evidence that suggests that crystals do these things. So in the science world, it would be like that crystals wasn't the reason why I won the money or anything of that nature. But what I'll say to that is, and I read in an article while researching that actually they did a study where they gave half the room some real crystals and half the room just some rocks, and basically could not, and everybody, some of them, people who had the rocks that weren't crystals, they had believed something, and the other group, so basically it was like the rocks that they gave that were not crystals was like a placebo. And you can go look up what a placebo effect is. It's basically giving, like in studies where if they give you medication, they'll give somebody the real medication, they'll give somebody a placebo, but tell them that it's the real thing to see how they react or how their body reacts to it. Same thing that they did with these crystals. And everybody was acting the same way. So there wasn't no like, oh, a certain amount of the people who had the real crystals did this and the other ones didn't. They said basically it's your mind. And somewhat, I mean, I do agree with that. I actually agree that, maybe crystals are like the placebo effect. But who cares? That's what I'm saying. Who cares? Because the fact that I believed in something made me do better, feel better, and become better for others or to others, then keep on doing it. Keep on using it. Keep on believing in it. And I tell everyone that asks me about crystals and the power that I believe they hold, I do believe the power lies in you. That's where the power lies at. And there's all kind of tools. When we want to lose weight, we use exercise equipment as tools to assist us in losing weight. When Christians, or people who go to church all the time, they use the Bible as a tool to keep them informed and maintained in their religion. I use crystals to help me in my everyday life. I help crystals to help me keep discipline. Somebody say, how do you do that? So what I do is, I start by, I wasn't saying affirmations before. Me using those tools to help me become more self-aware of the things that I needed to become more disciplined in, and the things that I needed to help me along my journey of a spiritual awakening that happened overnight. I don't know where I'd be right now in 2023 on this day, February the 2nd, if I didn't have those tools. My self awareness journey has led me to have to forget everything that I knew before, erase all of that, and rebuild my thoughts, the way I think, how I feel, the things I say, the things I do. It helps me hold myself accountable. So I say to anybody that anything that allows you to evolve, to grow, to become a better person, then continue to believe and do what you do. Because once again, we can't change anyone else but ourselves. And we can't expect anyone to change us. Like, we are in a spiritual warfare right now, a spiritual warfare. Like, we need some tools. We need something to help us navigate through this big crisis of mental health. Mental health is real. It's running rapid. Substance abuse is real and it's running rapid. It has evolved. All the crises have evolved, and we must evolve as well. And in order to evolve, we have to be able to accept change. And some may not even know how to do that. We need tools to help us navigate through this thing we call life. Like I said, I had to break down everything that I've ever believed in, everything that I ever thought, and recreate from the knowing side. I didn't know, from the knowing side. And when you know better, you do better. At least I hope we do. So this is my first podcast from the Crystals and Cocktails podcast. See, got to get the name right. This is my first podcast, and there'll be many more to come. But I wanted to start off by explaining my love of crystals and what drives me to do the things I do, like start my own crystal business and start my own podcast about crystals. I have a bachelor's in psychology, and I also have certifications in leadership and also life coach and leadership coach, as well as I am a community relations coordinator for substance abuse treatment centers, where we treat substance abuse from medicated level as well as counseling. So I'm in the field where I see a lot of hurt people. I'm in the communities that are broken, that need help. It's not the state or the federal government giving more money. It's not blaming one race or another, or it's not blaming one group of people or another. We have to help ourselves. That's what we got to start from. Learning and being more aware of our own actions, our own thoughts, will help us be able to navigate through others, through this life, and be able to communicate better with others, be able to receive others, be able to give and receive better. And I don't know what tools everyone is using, but this is what my podcast is about. It's about talking about crystals, the power they have, the healing power they have, or the placebo effect they have, whatever you want to call it. I want to get to know people, and there's a whole community out there that loves crystals as well. And I would love to learn and about why they got and on to crystals and some of their stories and what they believe in and with crystals. That's what this show is about. It's also about community. I am in the community. I am the community. So it's all about some of the social issues that's going on in our community today, and how can we help them? How can we help the communities? How can we help our communities? What kind of tools can we implement to create self-awareness, self-preservation, self-affirmation? That's what this show is about. I'll be eventually having some guests on that work in those fields, that are foot soldiers on the ground in the community, trying to figure out how to help the community, helping them the best way they can. We'll be reaching out to some of them as well, see how we can help them, hear their stories. And we'll be guiding, learning, evolving, and chit-chatting it up with each other, all about crystals and, how crystals and self-awareness and what other things. Because, crystals aren't the only things you can do for self-awareness and learning yourself. For me, they help me. So I totally believe in each one, teach one. This podcast is created to be able to learn from others. Anything they got, I'm always open to learn, to teach and reach others so they can know what I know. The more we know, each one teach one. I'm a firm believer in that. And so this is what the show is going to be about. It's going to be exciting. And then we're going to make crystal themed cocktails. So I'll have a crystal themed cocktail on the show, every show. And we'll also have our affirmation session. And our affirmation session, that segment for affirmations, we'll be diving into the world of, what is affirmations and how they help, and how affirmations is basically what you say something good over and over, basically on a continuous basis, to change your mindset, to change the way you think. The affirmation today, by the way, is what's for you will never pass you by. So I'll turn that around to me. What's for me will never pass me by. And that just means that sometimes we have to stop worrying about different things and know and stand firm and grounded in knowing that it's okay. If something you went after didn't happen for you, something you wanted you didn't get, it's okay. Why? Because you have to realize what's for you will never pass you by. So you didn't lose anything. Maybe there's more time, maybe it's giving you more time to learn something new before you get that. Or maybe it wasn't the right time for you to get it. Because if you get it, you squander it all. So those type of things. But you have to be firm to know that it's okay. So it don't affect you mentally, which can lead to physically, which can lead to action. So it doesn't affect you that way. We'll be talking about affirmations. We're going to break those down on the next podcast segment that we have. We'll be talking all about crystals, where they come from, different crystals. And like I said, we'll be making our crystal themed cocktails. And so I would love for you to come back and join me in my podcast called Crystals and Cocktails. And yes, crystals is spelled with a K and cocktails is spelled with a K. I thought it was cute. My company, my business is Conscious Couture Crystals.com. Like I said, we sell crystal everything. Anywhere from raw crystals, polished crystals, crystal jewelry, home decor. For crystals, I have some lovely crystal candles that never burn out. Like, you don't really have to, you can always reuse the same one with essential oils. I have that. So check us out on our website, which is www.consciouscouturecrystals.com. And conscious is with a K. Crystals is with the K. Couture is with the K too. So that's consciouscouturecrystals.com. Check us out. We'll be showcasing some of the stuff we have on the site as well through the different segments of our podcast. And definitely We want you to just join, come in, sit back. Let's make a crystal themed cocktail and learn all about crystals and learn all about ourselves and learn all about how to help others. That's what this show is about. How we can learn self awareness and how we can help others learn self awareness, or, each one teach one, and how we can just talk about how to enjoy life. It's a rough time out here. So definitely, I appreciate you for listening to the Conscious Couture Crystals presents Crystals and Cocktails podcast. See you next time. This is your host, Keenya, with a K and two E's. Have a great evening.